we are back. Sorry about the delay, trying to get the YouTube running. It keeps on running too fast, I can't catch it. Alright, let's see if it's streaming. Perfect, it is. All right, everybody, camera's back on. And before we start real estate taxation, I forgot to mention to you guys, right here, when I was talking about Rich Dad Poor Dad as a book to get, I forgot to mention to you guys also, because we talked about cash flow. I definitely recommend, it's the same author, still Rich Dad Poor Dad. But I highly recommend you get the board game or you get the computer game or the for your phone or tablet, whatever you want. I think the board game is still great because you can get real people involved. But this right here, and you can go directly to the site. I don't get any monies out of this. Is really, I believe, this is a great resource. If you ever played Monopoly, this is Monopoly on steroids. It's like a real life advanced version of Monopoly. So it includes like purchase of stock. It includes, oh, you got married, so now you have to pay this. You have this expense, you have that expense. So Monopoly is very simple, very plain, which is you roll the dice, you get the card, you look at it, okay, buy a house or pay this or pay that, right? This game is directed as getting you out of the rat race, which is your 9 to 5. If you have a job, you're in the rat race. You're working to make ends meet versus making the money work for you. So it teaches you how to make the money work for you. I've played this game several times. There's actually some meetups out there or meetup groups that play this game. My son loves, my 14-year-old, since he was 10, he loves playing this game. Sometimes still asks to play this game with me. And my youngest ones, they play the game of life, which is like a simplified version of this, right? It's a really, really simple version. But I do highly recommend, guys, the online portion of it is free. It says right here, if you want the board game, you have to pay for it. So you order. And I think the app is like $2 or $3 if you want to put it on your tablets or you're on your phones. But it's a really cool, I mean, I think they should have put more into the app itself, upgrade it a little bit more. But I still love this game. If you guys read the book and then you apply that knowledge into this game, you'll understand how to make the money work for you instead of constantly chasing money, which is the biggest struggle we have in life, right? Constantly chasing money. All right. And there's clubs that you can participate, so you find out in your state if there's a club that does it. If you want, you got the cash flow board game in English, you have it in Spanish, you have the cash flow for kids, right? And I'm probably gonna order it. Wow, 80 bucks. Okay, there you go. 80 bucks. This is how it looks, right? Probably gonna order this to have here so we can invite you guys to come play with us. And I'll teach you how to run this game. But this is the rat race right here. This is where we're stuck all the time. The goal is to get out of the rat race into the investments and never have to go back. Right? And it's been around since 1996. All right, anyway. So back to the class. So this was to complement the question that Felix asked over here, even though Felix is not there. But he asked if it was good enough. The $9,000 in the previous chapter. the $9,000 profit a year, was it good enough? Right? Sometimes it's not, but having that leverage, right, starts building more income or power to borrow more money. So play the game. You might start, depending on what you're doing, you might start with making just $9,000 a year, but then playing it right, those $9,000 could turn into 18, 21, 200, 500,000 a year. So sometimes small investments, small movements. Don't forget you're building equity over time, right? So you can borrow against your property, and then you keep on going. All right. So without further ado, let's go to real estate taxation. Now, does anybody know what taxation is for? Let's start with that word, taxation. What is taxation for? Anybody? What's taxation for? Let me know. For the government to get their cut. You're close to the answer. Close to it. If anybody's watching on YouTube, get me the answer. What is taxation for? Percentage of gain. Okay, that's what it is for. We're talking about why are you taxed? Why are you taxed? What is it for? What's the purpose of taxation? Why does the government tax you? It's supposed to be for the good of the community or population. How? Google is great. All right, so Felix said it's for government imposed. It's a government imposed percentage from people towards the good of the people by infrastructure and all that stuff. Jacqueline says to provide revenues. All right, so taxation is for infrastructure. Taxation is for support of the community, right? So Vanessa, so real estate taxation is what you said. I'll explain that in a second. So taxation, remember, it's we the people, and we pay the government for them to work for us, right? Unfortunately, just like we do, sometimes we misappropriate funds. So I understand what you guys say when it's the government getting their cut, right? So they misappropriate funds for other things other than the people. That's unfortunate. That's politics, right? You want to change that? Let's we the people get all together and put a full audit on the government, right? So when is that going to happen? The answer is, unfortunately, never. So, and I'm not saying just the US, I'm saying all over the world, right? Nobody ever gets together and says, government, show me what you got, because we the people, right? Nobody. Maybe 2 or 3 people, right? They start something, right? And then maybe 100 people join, and then it dies down. Because people got to get back to work. This can't last forever, right? And the government, just like all the bigger entities, they bully us. They know you cannot last forever in that activity. They know you need to pay your bills, right? That's why everybody was surprised now that these riots or protests took so long, right? there was money coming. So they were established. They could be out there. They were not working anyway, right? So real estate taxation. So taxation is for the infrastructure that the government provides us. So we pay for them to provide that infrastructure. Real estate taxation is at a local level. See, there's different taxing entities, as we'll learn. There's different taxing entities. Like there's a board of education, right? There's the emergency service, like police department, the fire department, and so on. There's parks that need to be maintained, so recreational areas that need to be maintained. There's the water that's supplied by your town, the sewer that's supplied by your town. All these must be paid out of something. And since the government does not work for themselves, right, they need to get somebody to pay their salaries. Who pays their salaries? We do, through, again, taxation. So state, federal taxation is for income, and then real estate taxation is for your municipality. That's what it is for. There's different types of taxes. So we have ad valorem and we have special assessments. I'll talk about taxing entities in a second and tax lien at the end. But ad valorem means according to value, and this is also our general tax. Okay, so ad valorem means according to value or our general tax. Special assessments are also known as public improvements. Public improvements, or I'm going to call it for now additional tax, so you know that there's a separation here. So your general tax is according to the value of your property. I'm going to show you guys how you and your neighbors pay the same amount of tax. Your tax bill is different because of the value of your property, but the tax, or what you're being rated as tax, is the same across the board in your town, right? And then the special assessments is, hey, we fixed the roads, hey, we put street lights, hey, we put a new school, and that's something that's extraordinary. It's something that was not planned initially, and it's additional tax on your property, which could be spread over several years. So let's start with taxing entities. Like I said, there are no federal taxes on your property. No federal taxes on your property. We have state tax, not income tax, but we have state tax that's trickled down to counties and then to municipalities. So municipalities are responsible for imposing that tax and paying county, and then county pays state. So everything trickles to whatever the local government is. These are called taxing entities or taxing districts. Okay. Now, a property tax bill might include tax levies from such districts as the following. So these are called, they call it districts: bridges and highways, nursing homes, stormwater management, township, fire district, school district, retirement fund, health services, historical museums, sanatoriums, forest preserve, land management, public library district, park district, and college community districts. So these are divided, all the bills, the tax bills are divided into districts. We bundle them all together into one single bill, and that becomes your real estate tax. Okay. So we're going to start with ad valorem tax. As I said, according to value, right? And this is your general tax based on the value of your property. So, ad valorem. It's according to the assessed value. It's according to the assessed value of your property. according to assessed value of your property. Now, what is assessed value? Assessed value is not market value. Take a note somewhere. Assessed value, not market value. Okay? So the assessed value is determined according to state law, usually by a county or township assessor or appraiser. So your township's assessor or appraiser says your property is worth X amount of dollars. That's not the sales price of your property. And the reason why I wanted to show you this is, actually, let me ask you something. Does anybody have a problem that I show you your property taxes? Is there anybody that wants to volunteer? I'm going to show you property taxes and how the bill is. I had that in my ninth class. Anybody wants to volunteer? Because everything is public records and we can find out right now. So if you want to give me an address, put it now in the chat and I will show you how taxes are calculated. Let me know the address. Don't be shy. Anyone? Okay, Olga, give me the address then. Put it there and I'll check it. She has the tax bill right in her hand. Like, hey, here's. Broadway. Union. Oh, Yanitsa gave me as well. Okay. Let me go with Yanitsa. She was first. Faster. All right. So let's switch to this screen. As you can see here, right? Block and lot. This is where the property is located. If you guys remember legal descriptions, right? Block and lot. Class of the property, location, and who the owner is. Yanitsa. Okay. And we're going to get more info. Okay, so this is what you get at home. Let me see. I need to switch here for a second. There you go. So this is what you get at home. This is your tax bill. Okay. Now, in the tax bill, Rahway City was mailed February 11th, your last tax bill. And look what it shows. I'm going to zoom in. This is all public records, by the way. So it shows that your land is worth $59,600, right? Your building is worth $61,000. The total value is $120,000. Because there's no other adjustments, which I'll talk about later, the assessment total, so the total valuation of your property is $120,600. Now, is that how much your property is worth, Yanitsa? No. Do you have an idea how much it's worth, more or less? If you were to sell today? Any idea? I can always search it up, but let's see if you have an idea of what it's worth. Fallon, you're asking for too much. You want me to give you websites and everything? That's too much. I will. Yanitsa says $250,000. Survey says, let's see if it is. Didn't show up. 21. What I put wrong? See what your property is worth. 300,000. You're a little off. 300,000. And that's without me going into more details on the property. Now, let's look at what we have here. I don't know how it was for you, Yanitza, but I know how it was for me 16 years ago, almost, when I bought my first property for $320,000. I bought two properties at the same time, but one of them, $320,000, and the valuation of the property was close to this. I almost had a heart attack, right? Because I just bought for $320,000. What do you mean it's worth? It was a little bit over 100. What do you mean it's worth 100 and something? 108, I think it was. Right? What do you mean? Right? So I had to go to the city hall and figure out, did I get scammed? What happened? I did not understand the thing about taxes, but I was very offended, first of all, about their saying that my property was worth 120. Right? When I got there, the lady that was there was actually very nice and was laughing at me, but she was very nice though. But she was laughing at the fact that I did not understand it, and I was very nervous, whatever. Very young, very nervous about it. I thought I made a bad investment. I got scammed. And she explains, no. Here's the thing. That's what the city attributes value to your property. But I bought it for 300. No. Listen, the lower the value, less taxes you pay. She didn't have to say anything else. So that value is good. That's what you're telling me. Can you lower even more? Because I'll go for it. If I'll pay less taxes, do it now. Drop 20,000. I think my property is worth 20,000. Just do it, right? So, but in the beginning, I was very nervous about it because, again, what do you mean? I bought it for 320, right? And the other one was 335, I think it was. But anyway, they're all really low numbers. So the assessed value is not the market value. That's what I was trying to show you guys. It's not the market value. This is what the town assesses your property at for tax purposes. So if this value goes up, so will Yanitza's tax bill. You got it? If the value goes up, so your yearly taxes will go up as well. All right. So going back to where we were. And all the information is here. In fact, Yanitza, you bought it in 2015. Right? All the other owners are here. Not a bad investment. I'm here checking out your whole info. Look at that. It's a 33 by 100. Right? Let's see what else. The square footage, 1,100 square feet. Where the deed is recorded, book and page. This is a two-family? Yeah. It's a two-family, and it's a frame property. Okay. Anyway, so you're asking me which site is this. Just go on Google and search New Jersey tax, property or parcel or land tax. We can also do what I do to get to this site, which is the easiest one for me to navigate. You put tax and then Monmouth, like Monmouth County, and they have all the records in this site. All the records are here for all the municipalities, all the counties. Everything is here, whatever you want. So let me look real quick, and then we move forward. I'm going to look real quick at Olga's. Posted there. County, attorney. Olga says 65. Does your property exist or it's a double lot? It's a double lot, right? And also search. Okay, there you go. I could also search by your name. Okay, that didn't show up. So there you go. This one. Okay, it's some, it's not all. Some of it. All right, so it's actually 63-69. There you go. Purchased in 2005. One-story building. 96 by 91. Right, and your assessment card. Your tax assessment card. And it says that the total assessment, building 115, I'm sorry, land 115, building 109, the total assessment is $245,000. That's what your property was assessed at for tax purposes. And your taxes, you're paying almost $26,000 a year for that commercial property. So again, this does not represent the market value of the property. If you don't mind me asking, if you were to sell it today, do you have an idea how much it's worth? No? Let's see if I have a number for you. Because it's commercial, it's a little different. Let's see if I have a number for you. Switching to my commercial. Nope, I don't have enough info for that. Yep, I don't have enough info because it's commercial property. I don't have enough info. I don't have comparables. I will need more info on the property itself. Okay. like a income. So it would have to be the income approach. But that was it. I mean, all your info is here. It describes the building. It describes the land size. So yeah, that's what I was thinking more or less. Nina asked, what's a frame property? So the structure. So in this commercial property, it's not frame. You'll probably have some type of concrete structure, right? So the taxes describe the type of structure that the property is. So in the case of Unitza, it's a frame property. That means that the structure that was built was the wood framing. All right. Back to all right. So I think it was very clear. Sorry. Okay, so I think it was very clear on the fact that the assessed value is not the market value for all these. I think we cleared that. And it's very important to understand because when you do your taxes, I mean, when you do a tax calculation in the state exam or school exam, you need to look at always at what is the assessed value, never the market value. So if the question is tax rate is 3%, and they give you property value is 500, right? And they give you assessed value 400, you need to cross out the market value because market value is not what the property is assessed at. Unless the question clearly states, hey, based on this particular town assesses at transfer. So meaning if it's sold for 500, then that particular town assumes that the value is 500 and you're going to pay taxes based on 500, right? You don't find this everywhere. Most of the towns have a rate assessed to it and they have their own calculations. So it's not you, it's them. And that will be provided to you in the state exam. What you need to be clear is what the question is asking. If it's taxes, look for assessed value. If they give you two numbers, usually the one that, if they give you two numbers, they're going to give you the assessed value and fair market value. What they might tell you is that in this town, properties are assessed at 60% of market value. So they give you 500, they give you 60%. You need to figure out what the assessed value is, which is 60% of the 500. Anyway, so I already explained all this. Equalization, I'm going to skip for now. There's no questions on equalization. Appeals. From page, sorry. We are on page 290. Physical book might be page 288, maybe. But anyway, appeals. Property owners may object to the assessed value of their property. So if you're not happy with how much you're paying in taxes, well, what can you do? You can dispute or appeal the taxes. Dispute or appeal the taxes. According to local law, a property owner must present evidence that the assessor made an error to a review board or appeal board. So you have to come up with solid data, so strong enough evidence that your property should be paying less taxes. And again, if I told you that the taxes are the same across the board, that means that the mistake they've made or are making is the value of your house. So you need to prove that the assessed value is incorrect. It's not that your taxes are incorrect, it's that your assessed value is incorrect. Again, taxes are exactly the same. I'm going to show that in a second. Now, some properties are taxable and some are not taxable. Government-owned properties are immune to taxation. So if we're talking about City Hall, public libraries, community colleges, do they pay taxes? No, because the government established them for the community, so they're not taxed at all. Also, properties owned by non-for-profit, they don't pay tax either. So if you have a religious organization, if you have a non-for-profit or charitable organization, you do not pay property taxes at all. And then there's different owner classes that might pay less taxes or not pay taxes at all. So senior citizens, widows, disabled individuals, veterans, they also have taxation benefits or not pay taxes at all. And even for agricultural purposes, which we'll show in a second, for agricultural purposes, you will reduce your taxes as well. Tax district budgeting. So how did they figure out the taxes that they're going to impose on you? Well, it's simple. It's based on the town's budget. How much does it cost to run the town? $10 million. Great. How much money comes in from revenues, from its sources of revenues? Sales taxes, business taxes, income taxes, everything is piled up. If there's not enough from those, then we go to real estate taxes. So pretty much what you pay in taxes is to cover a small hole in the whole budget. Because look, every time you go pay for a copy or for a certification, a permit, whatever it is in City Hall, all that goes into the budget. All that revenue falls into the budget. So it's distributed back to the management of the town. And then, again, tickets, business taxes, sales taxes, income, all this stuff, again, is bundled into one big pool. And we're going to look at it, okay, we made $9.7 million this year. Was it enough to cover taxes? No, there's still $300,000 left. So we need to recover $300,000 from somewhere. Where do we do it? The budgetary shortfall becomes your ad valorem. So the budgetary shortfall, that deficit, becomes your ad valorem tax levy. So the taxes you pay is again to cover the hole in the budget. How do we figure out the tax rate? Well, each individual taxing body has its own tax rate, meaning every single unit has its own. So the Board of Education receives X, the police department receives X amount of dollars, and so on. So they all have their own tax rate, but also every municipality has their own calculations. So the different districts will figure out what's called appropriation. The different districts will figure out how much money they need. They present it to the taxation board. Taxation board looks at it, says, okay, out of the whole money we need to bundle, 1% is for Board of Education, 3% of this is for the fire department, the police department, 4% of whatever we recover goes towards this or that. So they bundle into one bill, and then once collected, distribute evenly. Again, each municipality or taxing body has its own tax rate. So you cannot say, well, in Newark, we pay 26% tax rate, right? And it should be the same all over. No, there's different needs from municipality to municipality, okay? So how do we figure out the tax rates? Well, the tax requirement is the deficit in the budget. And the tax base or assessment roll, also called assessment roll, okay, is the total assessed value of all taxable properties. Okay, so remember, government properties are not taxable. So this is private residential properties or commercial properties. So privately owned properties are taxable properties. So the assessment roll is the total value of all the properties within the municipality. Total value of assessed or taxable properties. So we need a certain amount of money divided by the total value, and we figure out the tax rate. So here's an example in numbers. The taxing body, and this could be a question in the state exam. The question in the state exam could have been your municipality, so any city, right, needs $500,000 to cover the budget, right? The tax district or the tax roll is $15 million. That's a total assessed value. Tax base is the total assessed value, right? What would be the tax rate in this municipality? Well, budget, deficit, divided by all property, and the tax rate for every single property is 3%. So every property pays the same amount of taxes, right? What differs from one property to the other is, again, the property value, because now the tax bill is your property's assessed at $1,000, your $100,000, I'm sorry, and the tax rate is 3%. Well, your tax bill is $3,000, 3% of assessed value. Now, this 3% or 0.03 can be expressed in a number of different ways. It could be 30 mils, it could be $3 per 100, it could be $30 per 1,000, or 3%. All of these mean exactly the same thing. Okay? They will tell you in the school exam or the state exam, they'll tell you exactly which one of these they're using. If they say 30 mils, a mil is 1/1000 of a dollar. What does that mean? 0.001. That's 1 mil. If they say 30 mils, then it's 30 of these, right? 30 mils is 30 of these. So that is equivalent to 0.03. Good so far? 0.03 is the same in your calculator, is the same as 3%. Right? If you convert it to decimal points, is 0.03. All right, guys, good so far? Let me know. All right, good. Let's go back here. This one is the easiest one ever. $3 per $100. Ready? $3 per $100. Every time you see, let's take the dollar sign out of here. Every time you see per 100 is the same as per cent. Per 100 is the same as percent. So all you have to do in this case is take the dollar sign out. And if you see $3 per 100, you see 3 per 100, it means 3%. You guys get it? All you have to do, if it says $3 per $100, if it says $20 per $100, if it says $40 per $100, the moment it says per 100, all you have to do is take the dollars out and you're going to add percent. It's 3%. It's 20%. It's 40%. All right? So if it says per 100, it always means percent. Okay? And the $30 per 1,000, not very common to be used that way. We'll see it in insurance. Insurance will say that. So if it's an insurance rate, it will be $30 per 1,000. Well, same thing as 3 per 100 or 3 per 1,000. Just do this. And we go back to 3 per 100. And what does 3 per 100 mean? 3%. You guys got it? So if you ever see a calculation that says per thousand, right? Just move numbers to the left. Eliminate some numbers. That's it. All right, we have a math class, so don't stress so much about it. But let's look at your tax bill. Sorry. This is a little more complicated calculation. Most likely in the state exam, they will not ask for all this. They'll give you a final value. But let's say taxable value is $240,000. In this case, you have a homestead exemption. So being your primary residence or 65 or older or whatever the exemption might be. So they've reduced $75,000. Then your taxable value or assessed value, the actual value, is $165,000. In most calculations for state exam, they will not separate these. Okay, they will not separate these. If it's in an area where they calculate per mils, maybe. But if you are in a state where they do percent or per hundreds, they'll give you the combined value. So let's say the combined value was 2%. Here we have 2 mils, right? Let's say the combined value was 2% of the 165. That's the number you would use to figure out the tax bill. So again, let me do it here. If your property is worth $100,000, assessed value, and the tax rate is 3%, what is your tax bill? Because that's the question in the state exam. So they would have given you assessed value, and then the tax rate would be 3%, or would say 30 mils, or would say 30 per every thousand, right? What is the answer? 100,000 times 3% means that your tax bill, your yearly tax bill, is $3,000. Simple as that. If they said 26 per 100 means 26%, and that would mean that your bill 26,000, right? So tax bills are calculated this way. Very, very simple. All right, special assessments. What you need to remember, I already addressed this right in the beginning. Every time you see the word special assessment, means public improvement. Public improvement means they've done something to the water, to the sewers, to the roads, and there was something exceptional. It was not in the original plan. So it's a larger or capital expense. They divide that over several years against your property. Okay? So special assessments are public improvements against your property. All right, tax liens. And we're almost done, guys, okay? Tax liens. My question right now to you guys is, what is a lien? What is a lien? Let me know. Financial claim, encumbrance, perfect. So it's an unpaid bill against the property, right? It's an encumbrance, it's a cloud, it's a financial claim. Every time you see lien, remember money. So unpaid bill. It's a financial claim against the property. Until you pay off that bill, they have a lien or a grip on your property. You guys remember this, right? If you have a lien or grip on your property, then it's an encumbrance, right? Therefore, also known as a cloud on your title. Every time you see a lien, it's a financial claim, it's money, unpaid bill. It's an encumbrance against your property or a cloud on the title. So if the taxes are not paid, can you sell the property without satisfying the tax bill first? Most likely not. That's why at closing, at the time of closing, we usually pay off whatever belongs to, you guys are going to learn that over the next couple of chapters, but we have to pay off whatever used to belong to the seller in order for the buyer now to take over from balance zero, right? Now, sale of tax certificates. First of all, what is a certificate? A certificate is a claim, okay? Because if I give you right now a certificate to go to a restaurant, right? Then it's a claim. You get there and you can claim, let's say $100 certificate, you can claim $100 at that particular restaurant, correct? So a certificate is a claim. Now, what if, I'm going to explain that a little bit better in a second, but what if I tell you that that certificate is only redeemable on Valentine's Day? Can you go to that restaurant today and claim it? Well, if you're watching this video on Valentine's Day, then yes. But while we're recording this live, the answer is no, because we are right now on October 13th. So no, we're still far away. So I'll give you a certificate, and you have to wait X amount of months or years, depending on what the certificate says, right? If you have a 401k, you have a certificate. And that certificate is fully redeemable once you reach the age of 59 and a half, as an example, right? So you have to wait all those years before you can start claiming, like an annuity, so the IRAs and so on. So you have to wait all this time to start claiming without any penalties. Certificates. Very important you understand what a certificate is. Because when there's a sale of a tax certificate, that means somebody defaulted on the taxes. So if the taxes remain unpaid, the city or the state will sell tax certificates. So guys, if you're not paying your tax bill, eventually the government, whether the local or county or whatever, will sell your taxes. And once they sell the taxes or have a tax foreclosure, somebody can purchase that certificate. If I purchase the certificate, there's something called redemption period. What is a redemption period? Is the amount of time that you have to recover the property. How do you recover the property? By paying me what is owed. So I paid $15,000. Yes, Nina. So I paid $15,000 for your taxes on your behalf. Okay? So in the state of New Jersey, as an example, you now have 2 years to redeem the certificate. That means you have 2 years to pay me. The winning bidder, right, is entitled now to interest and other charges, legal charges, on that money that I paid for you. And if you don't pay me within the 2 years, here in New Jersey as an example, if you don't pay me within the 2 years, well, I can now request a tax deed or tax foreclosure in order to collect the property. So I paid $15,000. You don't redeem, then I'm going to request for a tax foreclosure, and the title would now transfer to me. So I bought your property for $15,000. That's pretty much what happens. Now you do have the option of paying it back. Okay, you have the option. Pay me back $15,000 plus interest plus fees. But if you don't, I claim the property through that foreclosure. You guys got it? So I have to wait a certain amount of time before I can redeem or take action on that certificate, before I can collect on that certificate. Until then, I cannot use the property and I don't take ownership of the property. I cannot do anything. So think about what I'm saying. You're going to a restaurant, I gave you a gift certificate, or I gave you a voucher, whatever you want to call it, but it's only to be collected by Valentine's Day. So can you do it now? The answer is no. You have to wait the statutory period before you can enforce the tax sale or foreclosure. Okay? After the period of time has came, you're now eligible to go there and say, hey, give me what's mine. You get out. All right? Any questions, guys? Oh, statutory interest in the state of New Jersey, as an example, just like Florida, is 18%. So you bought somebody's taxes for $15,000, they have to pay you back 18% on that money. Not bad, right? You guys hear me say in the previous chapter, you guys hear me say why I love real estate so much? Right? Show me where you make 18% a year. That's secured by a property, right? Because in this case, it's a win-win-win situation. Unless you're really screwed up on preparing the documentation, unless you're really screwed up, somebody's going to pay you. Either the homeowner is going to pay, or the bank's going to pay, or you get the house. So it's win-win-win situation. Simple, right? Can't get any better than this. Just make sure if you ever do this is just a quick advice and we're done. Make sure if you ever do something like this, look for vacant homes, right? Remember adverse possession. Okay, instead of waiting, like here in New Jersey, you have to wait 20, 30 years. Florida 6 and Texas is 5 to 15 years, depending on how you do it, right? Look for those vacant homes and then apply this. That's it. In 2 years or less, depending on the state you're in 2 years or less, you could become the owner of the property. But again, vacant homes. That's my advice, right? Because I don't think you would like to be kicked out of your house, right? So don't do it to anybody else. But if the house is vacant, they abandoned, let's claim it. Simple. Legally, lawfully. Any questions? Want to move forward? Alan has a question. Nina has not disappeared yet. Felix is wondering. Alan's about website. What website? Oh, the assessment, the tax assessment? All right, look over here. This is your search. Tax mama. Click on it. It's the very first click right there. And boom, here we are. Okay. Search tax mammoth, and then it's the very first one. Or you can search New Jersey tax property tax list search. Okay. It's right here. Very similar information. So Atlantic, you can search whatever county you want, the district, and then you put whatever information you have. It shows you the property classes, as we said before. Okay. Owner name, whatever you decide to search, and it will pop up. Good? All right. So guys, if there's no other questions, okay. If there's no other questions, then we're moving forward to ending this class. And if you're gonna join me at 5:30, I'll see you later. If not, then enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning. All right, guys? Talk to you soon.